Here we are playing Pokemon, one of my favorite games from my childhood. Also, one of my phone.
Call from US Bank.
As I was saying, Pokemon was one of my first games growing up as a kid, and we're gonna do it. What? Maurice? Beat this gym? I cannot have this. Okay, let's play Brock and do our challenge.
Harm, what do you want for dinner? Come and tell me right now.
Mom said we're going to
Oh, Saratoga.
Saratoga.
Harm, I just can't wait. I'm hungry right this second. I really just can't wait.
Okay.
Why are you always playing your own games on here? Always down here on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Just kidding. What is Mom printing on now? What? We're going tubing for a week? And? Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm.
Bye, sugar bugger.
Bye.
Look, how much cake.
That's my sister for you when she's super hungry. I'd say she's about 4 steps away from losing her mind. So as you could tell by the title, we will be beating Brock with only indirect moves, but it's looking like it's going to be really hard because he's using full heal immediately. How many full... We're gonna see how many full heals he has. There's no way he has infinite. We're just gonna keep poison. Oh my gosh, we're just gonna keep poisoning this Geodude. Come on, Brock, just use all your full heals and move on. There you go. Alright. Oh. So now we settle in for the long haul, and Brock is either really dumb, or Geodude hasn't learned Rock Throw yet, because that's super effective against Butterfree, which would have fainted by now. And I also want to add that the full spectrum of indirect moves is a very, very short list. I might not even have them all down, but I've only found like 10. You can probably guess by now that the only indirect move I've used so far is Poison Powder against Brock. And what I mean by indirect move is like, if you look at, I've been looking it up on Cerebi.net, and you go to the Pokédex and you go to, I clicked on Mew's profile, and since Mew can learn literally any TM, I go to that page, or that section, and so it'll say like, oh, like TM 15 Hyper Beam, and it has like, it does like 150 worth of attack damage. But an indirect move, my definition is that instead of having a number or a question mark for attack damage, it just has 2 dashes. So on the screen right here, I'll start a running list of all the indirect moves that actually cause damage to my opponent. And this list will grow as I try to take down more gym leaders. So we'll see how far I get. You'll be okay, Pikachu. Another thing about the indirect moves, the fact that there's such a small amount of indirect moves makes this challenge unorthodox, at least to me. And what's even more absurd is that from that pool of indirect moves, there's even a smaller amount that actually deal damage to your opponent. But we'll still be using the I would say, I'll call them supporting indirect moves. Like, for example, Pikachu was just using Growl against Geodude. Obviously wasn't dealing any damage, but now his attack is at the lowest it can be in battle, and my Pokemon are going to be able to survive longer, while Poison slowly takes him down. So we have Poison Powder on the running list so far. And if you have any guesses as to the other moves that I'll be using throughout the game versus the other gym leaders, then put those in the comments below. So what makes this challenge even more, I wouldn't say difficult, but offbeat, is that my Pokemon are going to have to keep these mediocre moves like Spearow using the Leer. Like, it's not really doing anything against the Geodude. It's just like a filler move to literally just stall for as long as possible while Poison Powder does its job. Growl and Leer each have 35 PP or power points, so that's a total of 70 turns of stalling, which really rounds out this challenge, and I would say is essential to making it possible. And what was I saying earlier in the beginning of the video? Oh yeah, I got interrupted by the phone, but Pokemon Gold version was my very first game, and my memory's awful, but I actually remember exactly the day I got it. It was I had saved up like $90 exactly, and I went to Toys R Us with my mom, and that's when they were selling Game Boy Advances, and I didn't really know about Game Boy Colors, so I just got a Game Boy Advance, and then I remember picking out Pokemon Gold off the shelf because they didn't have red, blue, or yellow. Those were already off the shelves, so they had gold, silver, crystal, and man, gold was like that's what got me into Pokemon. It was amazing. And then later on, I find out these kids in my neighborhood, they have red, they have blue, yellow, and yay, Geodude is done for. Now all we have to do is take down Onyx. Somehow I got my hands on one of them, and Pokemon is just it's so much fun. Like I'm what is it? 16 no, 15 years later,
Oh
and I'm still
gosh.
enjoying this game. Like I think that speaks to how good of a game it is. Well, at least for me. And I even found a way to do an absurd challenge in it. Oh boy, I still need like 5 more minutes of commentary to put in here. Let me think. Let me think. Um, Tyranitar is my all-time favorite Pokemon. He's from Gen 2. You you have to go to Mount Silver where you do the final battle with Ash or Trainer Red, but basically Ash. Um, but you can't catch Tyranitar. You have to get Larvitar. You might be able to catch a Pupitar. It's probably rare, and then you have to level them up. But Tyranitar just looks epic. He's only rock and ground type, so he's not like the best in terms of types. But I just think he's awesome. But
Two?
I would say the best two types you could combine, in my opinion, is water and ground type. And that is epitomized in Swampert, the starter water Pokemon in Gen 3, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. Well, you start with Mudkip, and then you get, can't remember the middle one, then you get Swampert. And Swampert's just OP in terms of type advantage because he's water, but he's also ground type, so now electric moves don't affect him at all, which is huge. And his only disadvantage is grass type, but it's cool because he can learn Blizzard. So if he goes up against a grass type, he just like if he can get the Blizzard move off, he'll just destroy them. It is great. Can we just take a moment here and realize that Brock is periodically having Onyx use Bide? And he's a gym leader, and he should realize by now that I haven't attacked his Pokemon directly one time. So I think he's just showing it off because he knows that if I beat him, then I'm getting Bide in a technical machine, TM34. So yeah. I would say my favorite thing about Pokemon Yellow is the fact that you can get all three starters. I'm sure a lot of other people enjoy this too. And it's just like so like overpowered. Like you just get Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. Like you do not have to worry about catching any other Pokemon. You'll be fine for the rest of the game, like no question. But one thing I dislike about the first gen games in general is that dragons, like, well, I guess there's only three: Dratini, Dragonair, and Dragonite. But like, I feel like they're limited in the fact that they get one dragon type move, and it's Dragon Rage. It does 40 damage every single time. Like, they have these like awesome like dragons that you don't really get to see till the end of the game when Lance has them at the Elite Four, and then they like since they only have Dragon Rage as their only dragon move, like they don't even use it because they could just use like Hyper Beam, which is like triple the strength, or maybe even almost quadruple the strength. And then they have what else? I think they have Thunder and Blizzard, like all these like crazy powerful moves, and then there's just like Dragon Rage, like no 40 damage. But by the time like Pokemon are at level like 60, like you have like what over 200 health or maybe even more. So yeah, I wish there was. I wish like Outrage from Gen 2 was a move in Gen 1. Um, Brock has been taken down with ease. Now our next target is Misty. Coming next video.